thirsty.
I am as well.
Actually, I haven't had a drink since our party last week.
I have not either, Robert.
Look at that.
Cheers.
Look at us behaving.
Look at us. It's more of a factor of that
Tiny human.
tiny human is monopolizing all my time.
Tiny human.
Yeah. All right.
It's also nothing worse than like getting out of bed to help in the middle of the night after.
Yeah, no, I can't even imagine.
A few drinks.
No.
Not as fun.
Yeah, no, I feel like, 3:15 would feel a lot worse if I had a pounding headache.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't have a hangover if you don't stop.
Hair of the dog.
Ay, ay, ay. All right, I need to remember that there's a delay. And we're actually at 3.5 minutes, not 3 minutes and 53 seconds.
Which monitor is the monitor?
All right.
Is this the same one we just got in?
No, the one we got in is not a salmon dial, right?
It's like yellower.
Yeah.
Right?
Huh. Which one? Is this the Revolution one?
I thought they were...
This is the Revolution one.
Is the Revolution and the Rake two different ones? Or is one
No,
Phillips?
Revolution Rake. Philips was the one that actually came on the real Ferrier Beads of Rice bracelet. The one that we got today is...
Revolution and the Rake.
Yeah.
12 pieces?
Wow. That'd be funny if the one upstairs is also...
Can you see? I think it's 12. My eyes.
Yeah, one of 12. This is number 12 of 12.
You're giving away state secrets here.
Well, there's only 12, Rob. They could have guessed.
You got a 1 in 12
You
shot.
got a 1 in 12 shot of guessing what the serial number is.
But that's what? That's like 18%, something like that?
I don't know. No, it's less than that.
1 in... Oh yeah, it'd be less
Far
than that.
less than that.
Sorry. That's what,
it's 8%.
4.5%?
What's that, like 425%?
That's like
All right, I'm going...
7.2589.
Rob's very mathy today. I'm going to go do not disturb.
Oh yeah, thanks. Dude, I could do, like when I had school math, I could do anything with Ted, Ellie, and bake. Does that mean there's cookies?
Maybe it's Backpage.
Maybe there's crescent rolls?
That sounds nice.
Or as you would say, croissant? Is that better?
That's how you pronounce CRESCENT.
Is that better?
You know, I just got your message about the Pizzellis that you sent like last week on Instagram. I just saw it today.
Oh, Pizzelles.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Like, oh, you're gonna bring those in? And I'm like, when the hell did he send that?
Oh,
today.
I love Pizzelles, man. Makes me think of my Italian grandmother.
Oh yeah. We bought a machine. It's like
it's like a pancake press, isn't it? Essentially,
yeah,
or whatever, a waffle press.
It's real similar. Yeah. But it makes that thin, crispy, anise-flavored cookie.
Right. Those are delicious.
Oh, makes me think of Christmas time. Love it.
Italian Christmas.
Italian Christmas. Pizzelles and the Feast of the Seven Fishes. My least favorite meal of the year. Was never really a big seafood person.
Love seafood. Nice. Got some people already joining.
Man,
Mark, Rohit, Mark, Ted and Ellie.
You want to pull this over more, or do you see it fine?
Over would be better if it's easy. But if it's heavy and short of cable.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually perfect. Lovely.
Right.
Nice. DC, go back to work.
EPRFA. I feel like we got some new people here.
I like it.
Welcome, one and all.
All right.
We got good stuff this week.
We do have. This is a pretty. It's
an
an
cool
edited
table.
but cool table. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Something for everybody.
Yeah.
Though. This is the perp, right? Yeah, that's a cool one.
That's very cool.
Couple of perps.
I would say
Eisenkiesel.
The Eisenkiesel is
That
amazing.
is the nicest Daytona we've had in a long time.
Absolutely.
I'm super happy with that one.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another Horological Happy Hour. I'm Justin.
I'm Rob.
And today we decided to talk a little bit about some new arrivals, which you'll see on the table in front of us. Rob and I were just commenting on what a lovely table full of new arrivals this is. Lots of variety, a little bit of something for everybody. And we also want to talk about LVMH Watch Week and all the new arrivals that I'm sure you guys have seen coming out over the past few days.
Some interesting stuff. this year.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. I feel like we've been stuck in this kind of like, here's a new dial color.
Right.
Or here's a new case metal.
Right.
Or, you know, like here's maybe a new complication if you were lucky. So it's cool to actually see. I feel like there was some serious innovation.
Yep.
There was some risk taking
Oh
from
my
the
God,
brands,
yeah.
which you don't always get from like conservative, especially legacy brands.
Well, and LVMH Watch Week has obviously grown. I don't know, I can't remember what iteration this is of, you know, how many times this has been run now. But obviously the LVMH watch umbrella has, you know, the brands that are encompassed by LVMH has grown over the, you know, little by little.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really interesting stuff, and like you said, they're doing very interesting things.
And there's a lot more like high-end watchmaking prowess
Yes,
now, which,
yes.
you know, we'll talk about that.
We will.
We'll talk
We'll get
about
there.
that. So why don't you take care of this?
Yeah.
While I look directly into the camera and tell all of the wonderful people watching us to please like this video, hit that subscribe button, and if you hit the little bell icon next to that, it'll put on your notifications so that you know when we're going live for the Horological Happy Hour and when videos like Take 5 and Gone in 60 Seconds get posted up on the stream.
So once again, we're going to tuck into this lovely bottle of Oban that a friend and client very graciously gifted to us. It was delicious last week, so we thought, why don't we run it right back? Robert,
It's very good.
I will pour you first, my friend, because I am a gentleman.
I was going to say, a gentleman and a scholar.
I don't know about that.
I love how people are already like stoking out the
Yeah.
table, and they're like, "Whoa, look at that! Look at that! Look at that!"
Pretty sure that's in the shot.
There we go. Now you can see the some of the stuff on the strap. The bracelet stuff you get a little sneak preview of, but you don't get to really see the strap stuff. So you'll probably look at this, and if you get our new arrival emails, which I strongly recommend you sign up for if you don't get them, you will recognize a lot of this, because what Justin and I did was looked at those emails and tried to pull all of those watches. And I say try because we were unsuccessful.
Yeah, some of the things are already sold, unfortunately.
The gray 5204
Yeah, that went
already
earlier,
shipped out.
earlier this morning.
What was the other one? There was another one that was
Well, the
already
back,
sold too.
well, I don't want to give
Oh,
it
yeah.
away, but this is already sold, but we still have it here in store, so we decided to talk about it. But why don't we go ahead and start with LVMH Watch Week, Rob?
some news,
Because
but
I
first-
think, yeah, but first, cheers. Cheers,
Cheers,
buddy.
buddy.
Good to be back.
Cheers to all of you.
Yeah, hopefully you guys are joining us. Let us know in the chat if you have anything special and interesting that you're drinking tonight. All right. So, Rob and I have been obviously keeping an eye on the new releases as they have been happening this week. We both kind of compiled our own list of the things that really jumped out to us. Make sure, you know, some of you guys are already doing it in the chat. Let us know what your favorite from this week's new releases has been. There's, like we said, lots of really interesting stuff, lots of, you know, really special and unusual things that have come out. So I don't know. Do you want to start it off, Rob? Kick us off with your first pick from.
I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
Why don't we get the laptop thing ready so that we can
We're going where I think we're going, right?
show. I don't know. Yeah, we can start there.
Cool.
That's perfect.
Okay.
But I also am very curious. Mr. Paradigm, my very good friend, said that his favorite LVMH is a Laurent Ferrier, and I'm not sure if that is. I'm not sure if he's being snarky. No offense there, but I'm not sure if you're being snarky or if they're really under that umbrella. Are they?
No, I don't believe so.
I thought they were independent.
Yeah.
But I could be proven wrong.
Okay.
I'm very curious about that now, actually. We do have a lovely Ferrier on the table for later. Stay tuned. So I think Justin and I both pulled out this one, and we want to talk about the Daniel Roth Extra Flat that just came out. This being, I love that they did this in yellow gold,
Agreed. Yes.
right?
Stunner.
Yellow gold, Roman numerals, Guillot style.
Mm-hmm.
You like that?
Look at you.
You like that?
Look at you.
I've been practicing.
Who are you?
Blued hands, black Romans, 38 by 35 millimeters.
By well, it's in the name, extra flat, but 7.7 millimeters thick.
Yeah.
That is some thin
Yeah.
watchmaking right there. That's the same as a 5064 Aquanaut, so
Yep.
old school Aquanaut. That's the same as a Saxonia manual wind. That's a lot thinner than a lot of other watches that you consider to be on the thinner side.
And For all of the old school Daniel Roths that we've seen, none of them are that thin.
No.
That's a very new concept for the brand, which I think is very, very cool.
Agreed.
I'm just irritated that they are making 20 pieces.
Well, here's the thing. So
You can switch it back
if
on.
you'll remember from last year, when they kind of relaunched the brand, they relaunched it with
Last year or 2 years ago?
I don't remember, Rob.
I think it's 2.
Way to
'Cause
make me look bad on camera.
Well, no, because they've done 2 Tourbillons, didn't they?
I don't know. I don't know, Rob. You're killing me already, buddy. You're killing me. Anyways, so within the past 2 years, Daniel Roth, the brand has been relaunched. And they started off with that Souscription Tourbillon, which you just mentioned, that was honestly stunning. Just
Oh, yeah.
absolutely beautiful, super complex. It took all of the classic Daniel Roth design language and just put it all back together and made it modern and brought it back to life. So really incredible. But that, again, was a very limited release. Very few have been seen in the wild. So this, you're right, they're only going to make 20 of this first run of Souscription pieces, but then they have already announced that there is going to be a production version of this watch that will follow. So that is already in the works. I think they know that they have a winner on their hands.
What are they going to change, is my question.
So from what I've heard, there's going to be a rose gold version.
Okay.
It's going to have a display back.
Okay.
I don't know if the production version, there will also be a yellow gold one, but I really hope that they make this yellow gold version because it's stunning. So just a couple more details that kind of popped out at me when I was doing, when I was reading up on the model. First of all, the Souscription model costs 45,000 Swiss francs, which is a good amount of money.
It's a lot for a time-only, like, ultra-thin kind of watch like that.
Agreed.
In my opinion.
I hope, if the past is any indication of what is in store here, Daniel Roth will most likely make a steel version of this watch, which at that point, even if they price that in the low 20s, I think that would be an incredible value proposition. It's a really interesting design. The dial, again, not sure if the production version will have the same one, but this dial is entirely hand decorated. They're using a vintage tool to do the engraving. It's done by one person on the Daniel Roth team, and each dial takes about 10 hours to do. So it's a labor-intensive process.
I don't think you're going to get that on a production model watch. I don't think you're going to get that dial. I think that's going to definitely be a change there. And I actually, the one thing that I take away from this that I find really, really, really interesting is this idea of yellow gold being the exclusive. Like if they come out with rose and steel and white and that becomes the standard model and this yellow gold becomes the thing. I think about that with the new Longa 1. The yellow gold is the most expensive Longa 1 you can buy. There's a premium to buy the yellow gold, which is bananas to me.
It is crazy.
And then the Walter Longa that they did, the yellow gold was the most limited other than the steel of one piece. But the yellow gold was the most limited. Is yellow gold the new, is that the new black? Is that the...
I think...
You know what I mean?
But you're leaning into it heavily because you love yellow gold. I like it as well. I know. I don't like it as much as you do, but I do think that because the pendulum swang so far away from yellow gold, it became, it really was looked upon kind of as an old man's material.
100%.
There's so much opportunity for brands like Daniel Roth, for brands like Longa to kind of reclaim it and to make it something more desirable. That's what we're seeing happening now.
I think, just like a fine scotch, as we mature, we start to realize that original, beautiful, glorious yellow gold is the only way to go. 100%.
Okay.
That is what it is. Without a
the
doubt.
one other thing that I wanted to say about the Daniel Roth before we move on is that apparently, so it's an all-new caliber. It's a manual line. It's a DR002. 65-hour power reserve, which is quite impressive.
For a watch that's paper thin.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and apparently, Daniel Roth has said that they designed the caliber with the tactile wind feel in top of mind. I know. Rob and I were just earlier today talking about a couple of our favorite I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and put say this ahead of time. Like we were nerding out huge on specific calibers that like we love the feel of the wind of. I mentioned the Longa 31. You mentioned a Longa Fusée and chain.
Any longer with the
Longa Fusée and chain.
like...
But it's super cool. I mean, I really like that it's an interesting thing to hear a brand say, when we created this caliber, we were thinking specifically about how it would feel in the hand of the owner to wind. That's really cool to me.
Interesting. Sam K says yellow gold is like vinyl. Been coming back for a while, but will remain niche.
Yeah, I don't disagree
I'd
with that.
actually be okay with that.
Yeah.
I also want to, while you pull up whatever's next,
Sure.
pull up something next. I want to go through a couple comments.
Go for it.
Go back. Scroll me back. I don't know what schwang is, but I'm okay with it. There it is. So LF movements are LVMH, but the brand is independent, designed and finished by LF, but manufactured by LVMH. And that's super interesting. I did know that the movements from LF were not 100% in-house. Like it was their thing, but they weren't fully manufactured that way. And I didn't realize that it was LVMH that owned the company. Again, I think that just puts even a little bit more of that emphasis on how LVMH has went from being like almost an also-ran in the watch industry.
I mean, I think they were really viewed as almost, I mean, it sounds kind of corny, but they were kind of viewed as a fashion watch. And I don't,
very much so.
Because even though some of the pieces that, specifically the LV pieces that they made back, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, they made some really interesting stuff. That World Timer was really interesting.
Yep.
There were a few other models, but they just didn't have the cachet that a lot of these other brands, these established brands have as, high-end, fine timepieces. And yeah, they're very slowly or they have very slowly just brought up the level of watchmaking.
Yeah, just like what we've seen from Bulgari.
Totally.
Where
Oh
like
my God.
Bulgari has like suddenly become like a major player with some really cool offerings. And I think it's great. I am all for more interesting, cool stuff.
Yes.
Right?
Whoever's making fun of trust fund people, you better watch yourself.
I love that you guys are chatting amongst yourselves. Like that we're almost creating a little community here in and of itself. That makes me happy. Almost as warm as this scotch.
Almost. Adam, let's go back to the
lead off with this because this is
I was
super cool.
Thoroughly impressed with these 6 limited edition tambours from Louis Vuitton. So, if you're familiar, the Tambour has been on the market for several years now. It's generally what we have seen has been an integrated bracelet sports watch vibe, with some different dials, some different combinations and whatnot. I still haven't seen one of those in person, but we've both said in the past that I would love to see it handle it because the design is very interesting. And these LE releases that just came out are incredible. Like, I'm blown away by these.
The Taiko Spin.
Right, so these are the Tambour Taiko Spin Time models, and Vuitton has been making Spin Time models for I think 5, 6, 7, 8 years now, and this is just first of all, to drop 6 LEs is pretty impressive. Apparently they're gonna make roughly 500 in total across all 6.
Okay.
And so just to break it down a little bit, all 6 have 18 karat white gold cases. It's a slight evolution of the standard Tambour case. If you're, if you're familiar or whatever, a Taiko is a type of Japanese drum. The case of this specific Tambour is slightly changed, and it looks apparently more like that specific thing. 2 of the 6 are 39.5 millimeter. So the 2 time-only models are 39.5 by 12.15 millimeters thick. So think roughly a sub thickness in 39.5
Which
mil.
for that kind of movement where you have like these things that are spinning around, like those hour markers actually spin as it gets there and stuff. That requires a lot of mechanical kind of ingenuity there and stuff, and you're gonna need height to do that. You couldn't do that extra plat and have these 3D spinning objects.
No, that would
so
be
that's
insane.
Okay.
So just like running through them real quick. So you have the time only top left in that photo. And also this is called the air. The ones where the hour blocks spin and that you can see right through the watch. Kind of reminds me of that vintage Cartier.
The mystery.
it looks like a captain's wheel.
Yeah.
Those were
Yeah, yeah,
incredible. Anyways, next up you have the non-air, but it has a hawk's eye.
The best one.
The hawk's eye center, and it is encrusted in diamonds.
Baguettes.
Yeah, I know. It's insane.
That's the one I want.
Unbelievable. Then the next one is just another standard one. Then the bottom layer, the bottom level there, the first one is their world time model, which is pretty impressive. That guy, if you'll notice, it only has a minute hand. The hours are indicated by that yellow triangle in that central world disc that spins. Then you have two more. You have that diamond encrusted one.
That's crazy, because that's all the diamonds there.
Right. In the center, on the lugs, on the bezel. And then that final model is a tourbillon, that central tourbillon, which, like, also, come on, why not just throw some more diamonds on there if you're going to give me a tourbillon and that crazy spin time.
That Hawkeye with the baguettes is like
unbelievable.
I think that is tremendous. There's only one issue here, once again.
Next up, prices on these. So when I first saw, this model drop, I was blown away. I think they're beautiful. I think it's super interesting, super innovative. Unfortunately, the time only, so the 2 time only models, 89.5, and then with diamonds, Robert, $149,000. My lord. The spin time air, so the ones that you can see right through, $101,000, and then also with diamonds, $149,000.
Yeah.
The world time is $123K, and shockingly, the tourbillon feels like a kind of a steal after those numbers. It's $127,000.
But no diamonds.
No diamonds, but you get the air and you get the tourbillon.
Which, thank you for all of you on the comments on my tie. This actually is an Albert Ganji classic.
Oh, I like it.
This was
I do like that one.
This was one of his. So
Also wearing a tie, people. Robert asked me if I was wearing a tie earlier, and I was like, yeah, I just have a sweater on, bro.
It's Schrodinger's tie.
Schrodinger's tie, exactly.
Justin is both wearing a tie and not wearing a tie right now. Which is your favorite, folks? Which one is your favorite there? I'm taking the Hawkeye with the baguettes with somebody else's money, please. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm going same. 100%.
Yeah?
The Hawk's Eye Center with the baguettes, like, my God, that one's amazing.
The one that's all
with
the
your
diamonds?
money.
Right.
With your money.
With my non-existent money?
Correct.
I mean, I'll spend your trust fund. A sloppy crease.
What? You gotta read the whole.
It's gotta be tied a little not perfect, because otherwise it looks like a clip-on.
No, keep on giving him a hard time, guys, please.
So pull up that Gruebel.
Okay. Yes.
Because I want to talk about a watch we're never gonna see.
That no one's ever gonna see, unless you're friends with Zuck.
Gruebel Forsey has introduced the Handmade 2. And the Handmade 1 came out a few years ago. It was priced just shy of $1 million.
Yeah.
And the idea behind this watch was that it was a true or at least as many components as possible were handmade.
Yes.
And so now Gruebel has come out with this second one, which actually is slightly cheaper. This is an absolute steal at 620,000 Swiss francs. But this is the part that to me blows my mind. 270 components.
Yep.
96% of which is made by hand.
Yeah, that blows me away. I would be very interested to know like what whatever it is, like 30 components or whatever or less are not handmade. I think that would be very interesting to find out.
But 96% handmade, 270 components, over 5,000 hours of work.
That's not surprising at all, honestly.
5,000 hours of work to make this watch. So they're only going to make 2 to 3 per year.
Yeah.
And they're already sold out for 25 and 26. There are allocations for 2027 if you got that trust fund money.
Oh, yeah, you need more than you need. Like I said, you need tech billionaire money to be able to pull off one of these. But yeah, no, wild, unbelievable.
But I like just put it back up one more time. Put it back up one more time, because that to me, like, I have always been a fan of time-only watches.
Mm-hmm.
And I have always thought that if you can take something very simple, in the case of a time-only watch, and make it interesting, and like execute it on the highest possible level, That is so much cooler than something complicated, and this does that in absolute spades. Not to say that this is simple. This is complicated, but if you boil it down to it being a time-only watch, it is quote-unquote simple.
Adam, can you go to the wrist cam, please? And Adam, Robert, can you please show this that was on our new arrivals earlier this week and has been sold? Go ahead, give me the swap.
Ooh, do you gentlemen have a cloth?
I believe I do, yeah, here.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I knew I had it.
I just, as we're talking about the unbelievable Gruebel and describing what it is,
Yep.
I look down at the table and I see this Moritz Grossmann Backpage in platinum,
Yep.
which could be yours for less than like a 1/12, I think, of the price of the Gruebel, something like
Except
that.
that it can't.
Well, it's sold. Yes, this has already been sold. But it's just interesting. You know, it's obviously this is not even close to as handmade. It's still a independent manufacturer. You know, making something quite unusual, quite different. You know, using interesting materials. It's platinum, and I just thought that was an interesting counterpoint.
It's a very, very fine watch.
It's cool.
And this is one of those where like that resistance here, oh, that is so lovely. And these are very cool too because they use this old school kind of pocket watch system here where you pull the crown, it hacks it, and you're setting the time, but the crown has pushed back in, so the crown's not actually out. The watch is like never open for more than a second. You set your time, and then this button here re-engages and gets the watch moving again. Nobody else does that. I think it's neat. It's one of those hallmarks. It's
Rob,
a
just
very beautiful
show it
company.
without a glare, please, if you can. It's tough because this has got a highly reflective. You're looking at the base plate essentially, and it's incredredibly hard to show.
And blue is tough. Blue is the
it is,
toughest
yeah.
color for us to get, like accurate. Whether it is in still. Oh, that's it. Thank you, David. We got to get close. Blue is the hardest color for us to accurately portray. You can even see like the power reserve down there at the bottom and like watch it move as you wind it up. Like that's a cool
Just
watch.
super unusual, not something you see all the time. It's not a Gruebel, but it's
not a Gruebel, but you know,
close.
it's one of those things where like it might scratch the itch if you don't have 620K kicking around.
Yeah, right.
We have 5 minutes left to the halfway point.
I know, we always do this. 1 second, I saw, this wasn't what I wanted to talk about next, but I saw Scott in the chat mention the Genta. Here you go,
Yeah,
I'll pull it up real
I think
quick.
you should pull that up.
And I'm gonna pull it up, because this was on my list. Let me just get a good photo of it, Adam. And, all right, so go ahead and go to the laptop, guys. So this, we've seen this, you know, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, when they relaunched the Genta brand. It was last year. The Genta brand got relaunched, and this particular model, the Gentissima Oursin, was one of the first models that they did. This is a variant of it. So this is the Fire Opal. Oursin is French for sea urchin, which, like, obviously it is. Look at it. It looks like a sea urchin shell. And basically you're looking at a 36 millimeter yellow gold case. And interestingly, it's based on a design that Genta sketched but never did anything with. And all those spines essentially are individually applied fire opals, and then it has an orange carnelian dial, and then that distinctive faceted sapphire crystal, which you'll see on like the old Mickey Genta watches and a few other models, and then prices on request because how do you price this thing? But
I wonder how many they'll make because that's going to be a small run.
It's so cool though. I love it.
I have to agree that yes, it is loud.
Of
It
course.
is super, super loud.
That's not trying to be
but
subtle.
That's the point.
Right. It's it's at 36 mil. Like it's not giant. It's not. I mean, obviously, whatever. You're not gonna fly under the radar with this thing. But it's Konrad Malinowski. This must have been designed back when everybody was taking acid. I think it was actually in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
Really?
So yeah.
That looks very 80s to me.
Yeah, that's what I said, late 80s.
Very like over the top.
I love it though. I love it. Like, give me whining emo. No, it's
As if there's any other
super
kind of
cool.
emo.
I think it's really interesting. No lugs.
My mock turtleneck. Exactly. Loose Tooth has got it.
I almost wore a mock turtle sweater today. Loose Tooth, you would have had a field day.
Black turtleneck, black pants, too much product in your hair, and that watch. And you are the boss.
No, I would get this. I would get that for my wife. I feel like that's
big boxy suit.
That's
It'd be
David
so
Byrne.
good.
I feel like that is like if you want to get like if you want your wife to be like the coolest woman around, like buy her one of those, go out to dinner, like that's cool as hell. I love it. I love it.
I want 2 seconds for the drag hour.
Okay. Let me pull it up.
And then if you want, you can grab one more. I'll be fast, I promise.
Okay.
I think this is the best release of the show.
Really? Interesting.
Yes, I think so. Another Tambour that has been released is the Drag Hour. And this is also a Louis Vuitton branded watch. It is Guichet. Did I say that right?
Tank. It's Tank.
It's not the Tank.
I know. It's similar to.
Guichet.
Correct.
And I think this is stunning. I think this is super cool. This is 37 millimeters.
I was just going to look at my notes to see what the size was on
this. It is 37 millimeters. It is not a limited edition, and it is $33,500, which...
It's 8 millimeters thick, too. Like, that 30... when I wrote this down, it didn't even compute, but like 37 by 8 mil, like, that has the potential to be really, really good on the wrist.
Yeah.
It's tough to say, I don't know. Again, neither of us have tried a Tambour, so I don't know how the lugs wear, anything like that, but I think that has serious potential. The fact that it's not limited is huge. Yeah. The platinum and diamonds is way, way, way too much for me. But
I think it's very cool, but I want the yellow.
I want the yellow. Rose. It's rose, isn't it? It's rose. Yes, I want the rose. So, do you know prices, Rob?
$33,500 for the rose.
35.5 Swiss francs.
Is that what it was?
That's what I had.
Maybe I wrote it wrong. Yeah, I might have wrote it wrong. I didn't catch the price.
61 on the platinum.
That's not bad.
I know. With platinum diamonds?
And they're tiny diamonds. It's a pave thing. Yeah. It's not big stones. But to me, I saw that and I was like, winner. I think the price is right. I think the size is right. I think the design is super cool. What would you like? What else on the market compares to that?
At that price point, honestly, 35, so basically $40K with an interesting complication and a unique design. That's really tough. And I've said publicly on this show that I want a jump hour as my next purchase.
And a couple of people have said, so Killer Audio reminds of the Anderson Genève jumping hours. I don't know that watch, but I'm going to go check it out.
Yeah.
And then Grant P mentions that he assumed it was a jump hour. I actually don't mind that it's not.
I don't either, honestly.
It doesn't bother me that this isn't a jump. I don't need it to jump. And I think the fact that it has that broader window, so you can kind of watch it move gradually, which I guess is the idea with the name Drag Hour.
If they made it actually jump, though, and even if they left the window the way it was, I would be even more excited. But it's very cool. And this is what we were saying is that, I don't want to speak for you, but my expectations weren't incredibly high going into LVMH Watch Week. I didn't necessarily think I was going to be blown away by interesting complications and really unique designs. I thought I was going to get, like you said, the standard new colorways, maybe a new model, probably more likely a different size. But seeing stuff like this from the spin time to the drag hour to the Genta that we just talked about.
That Genta, I don't even care that we'll never see one in the wild. The fact that it exists makes me happy.
And again,
can you pull that up?
Of course, that's
because now
I'm happy to make fun of this.
So Rohit Breguet jump hour, 100%. The Chopard jump hour, I have to admit, we had I believe it was white gold with the black enamel dial Chopard jump hour, and it was hands down the nicest Chopard I have ever.
We showed it on the show, and both Rob and I, and even at the price point, it was 50 pieces, limited edition.
Yeah, I was smitten.
It wasn't incredibly expensive, and it was just it was absolutely incredible. That was a great piece. So Rob,
Mr. Paradigm, I'll miss you. Bye. So now, to contrast that,
Yeah.
let's talk about something that I think is 100% derivative. And
yeah.
it's like, this to me, this irritates me because I love Zenith. I absolutely love Zenith. And I love the El Primero. I love the history. I love a lot of their modern models. I think the old school El Primero things they're doing are great. I think the modern Defy things they're doing are great.
Yeah.
Some of the like homage things they're doing are super cool. This to me is like, somebody mentioned low-hanging fruit, and this is like the lowest hanging fruit there ever was. Because when they did the standard version of this watch with the, is it a ceramic bezel? I don't know if it's ceramic or not.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
When they did that with the
Chronomaster
ceramic,
Sport.
the Chronomaster, it was like, okay, I get it. You made a Daytona.
You made a
That's not a
Daytona.
Daytona.
Right.
And I thought there was a little bit of humor in there because at one point there was a Zenith El Primero and a Daytona.
Sure.
But now it's like,
well,
come on, guys.
So the most offensive piece of this to me, beyond how it looks, is the MSRP is
the most offensive thing besides your face.
Yeah, pretty much. Is this watch costs $112,000. So you're getting a white gold Zenith Chronomaster Sport with a bunch of sapphires, which cool, but you're paying $112,000 for a Zenith. Like what? I don't know. I don't get it. It's not limited production. It's only available at Zenith boutiques and on Zenith's website. I know. I saw that.
You could put the black card in and you could get it shipped to your door.
So basically, they're just saying it's not available at ADs, which like cool.
I think the price point I think is right because they've priced it. No, hear me out. They've priced it high enough where it will have the exclusivity that they want it to have without making it the untouchableness of a rainbow Rolex. But it also is a lot more accessible than a rainbow Rolex. And so I think they're going to attract people, and I don't say this in a negative way, but people who can't spend $500,000 to get a rainbow Daytona because...
But all right, so here, counterpoint. If you don't have the scratch to spend $500,000 on a rainbow Daytona, which neither of us do, neither of us ever will. But you do have enough money to spend $112,000 on a white gold Zenith rainbow. Like, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. I'm not a CPA. Like, I'm not a a fiduciary. But like, don't do it. Don't do it.
I think it would look good if they just did the arrow markers in rainbow and left the bezel like.
That's kind of like what Breitling did. Breitling did that,
David.
But they didn't do any stones. They just did painted markers.
So yeah, no, I don't know. I pray to God I never see any of you lovely people on the street wearing one of these because I will not be able to hold back. I don't know.
All this said though, we did just take in a Zenith with a baguette bezel.
I wanted to bring that up because I knew you when that came in. No, Robert.
It was lovely, dude.
No,
that was so cool.
No.
That was so cool. We will show it once it's ready.
Okay.
So a little teasing for a future show there of a phenomenal Zenith that I didn't even know existed until I walked in the door a week ago.
So somebody, I don't know, I think it may have been Scott again, asked, what did LVMH's kind of core brands introduce? And so Zenith, there you go, there's one. And then Tag Heuer did introduce a new Carrera Chrono. It's a glass box, it's a purple dial with some black accents. Honestly, pretty successful. It's a good size, a little on the thick side, but all of those, all of those modern Carreras are. So that, that's fairly interesting. On the whole, the majority of pieces that were introduced were these more esoteric, kind of wild, kind of out there pieces, which I'm really excited about.
I feel like this show was about producing, almost like when you go to an auto show to see the concept cars.
Totally. Yeah.
That's what this show was like. Yeah. But the difference here is that somebody's actually going to buy that Genta. Well, and there are already people who have already paid for the Handmade 2 and are going to get it.
And these are not all, yes, the Handmade 2 they're making 3 of. The Genta, who knows how many they're going to make of. But the majority of these pieces...
I guarantee you 20 Daniel Roth are going. Right?
Oh, 100%
they're spoken for.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this wasn't all just concept pieces. These are not all incredibly limited edition pieces. Yes, there were a number of LEs, but there are still a lot of production pieces that you're going to see out there, hopefully. But you're right. It's cool to see brands taking big swings, and hopefully this is an indication of what is to come this year and in the future, you know, with really kind of inspired designs and just something new, you know, beyond it, like you said at the top, beyond just a new dial color. This is really cool to see.
And this is where I think LVMH is uniquely positioned, because a lot of their brands, like they have Tag Heuer, but other than that, most of their brands aren't legacy brands the way we think of Patek
No, they're not
or
at all.
Vacheron or Lange or even like IWC.
The majority of them, and even the ones that have a little bit of heritage, are brands that went dormant for a long period of time and that have now been
Daniel Roth,
Gerald, Genta.
And so they can take risks like that drag hour, like the spin time. And I think that kind of stuff to me is very exciting, because from a lot of the big players, we are feeling a little stagnant, in my opinion.
Agreed. It's cool to see a new player come onto the scene, take it very seriously. You know, everybody has heard the jokes. We made them ourselves that, you know, Bernard Arnault was just, you know, like giving out watch brands to his children, you know, or you know, to just have something to do. But honestly, like all the respect, because they're actually doing really interesting things. They are making good decisions, and I'm very excited to see kind of what comes in the future from the LVMH family of watches. So yeah,
100%.
All in all, pretty successful.
A good show.
Yeah, totally.
A good show from in a period where we haven't had like a good show in a while.
Yeah, I know.
So we are just past the halfway point, but I want to say thank you all for joining us and hanging out and participating in the chat. Please do like this video and hit subscribe while you're hitting there on our YouTube page, so that you get all of these wonderful videos pushed into your feed.
Scott, my only comment on Hublot is that I find it hilarious that the watch that they debuted is a downsized model at 42 millimeters. That's all. That's all. That's all I have to say about that.
We don't see a lot of Hublot here at the shop, and they're an interesting brand. I think it's very cool from like a marketing standpoint when you look at what they have been able to achieve from a brand that came out of nowhere with no history or legacy and all of that. So taking nothing away from their watches, it's just not something we look at a lot, because it's not a brand that we see very often. And it's not really the kind of thing that like a lot of us are into here at the store.
Exactly.
That's all.
Exactly.
All right.
Let's talk about some of these new arrivals, because they are spicy as hell this week.
Yeah. Do you want to go first, or shall I?
I mean, I can. What do I?
All right.
All right. Nope. Stop right there.
Oh my goodness.
Of course we're going with this.
Oh my goodness.
So, what? Okay.
I'm just reading the chat.
Oh, sorry. This is a stunner.
Yeah.
This came into the shop maybe a week or two ago, and immediately I was like smitten. I mean, whatever. Everybody loves Daytonas. There's so many variants out there. There's, you know, whatever flavor you like, whatever price point you want to be at, you can find one. This is a monster. So this is brand new for 2024. It is a...
we got the glitchy wrist cam again. We're going to have to reset that. Bring us back to the front, and then we'll put this watch back on it.
Okay. Why don't we just talk about it real quick then?
We got to reset this.
So this is, like I said, it was new for last year. This is the Rolex Daytona with the Tahitian mother of pearl dial, which is, if you're not familiar, it's a dark mother of pearl. So, you know, as opposed to your standard, just kind of like whatever, creamy, opalescent. It's got this like really incredible dark color to it. And even better, you've got diamond indices, you've got diamond bezel, you know, full white gold case, white gold bracelet, and then you have the standard mother of pearl subdials. This thing is awesome. My God.
This, I mean, Rolex with the 1-2 series has taken the Daytona to the next level.
Right.
I think like bringing back the reverse panda to me was like a super huge win. Doing this in a panda configuration like this, where you have the two contrasting
I didn't even think about it like that.
pearls,
that actually is cool.
Sick. and then to do it with diamonds like that, like, come on, man.
Oh man, when we saw this at, I think it was at Basel last year or whatever, Watches and Wonders, whatever the hell it is now. When I saw the photos of it, I was like, oh man, I cannot wait to see one of these because it's just it's so good. Even like the red Daytona text above the 6 o'clock subdial on that dark mother of pearl dial, it pops.
Look at how dynamic the dial is too. Like as I move it around in the light, it really changes. I mean, this, even just looking at this on the screen, it makes me so happy.
Yeah. This isn't the leopard, it's not the tiger Daytona, it's not the rainbow. Yeah, it's a lot, but white gold with diamonds is on the more, I know, but that's what I'm saying. White gold with diamonds is on the more subtle side. Tahitian mother of pearl always wins. It's
not a lot. Look at it on the monitor there.
It's killer.
It's not a lot.
I love it. I love it. I don't care what all of you commenters are saying right now.
What are they saying?
Amazing. Yeah,
I
they're
can't
passing on
see.
it. So yeah.
Bring it back.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yes, Rolex puts too many words on the dial. I agree as well.
Also, Rohit, agreed. If they made this with baguettes, I might like pass out over here and like lose myself.
That would be really good.
Baguettes always win, but unbelievable. Next.
Flip side, other end of the spectrum, a watch that doesn't scream, but what it says so very, very well. This is the Patek 5370P with a blue enamel dial. Those of you who watch the show on the regular will know that I think the 5370P is one of Patek's like absolute rock star references. It kills me that this watch sells at a tremendous discount to retail.
Yeah, it does. It always does. It's crazy.
Look at that. I'll get close. Look at that. I mean, there's nothing better than a manual wind chronograph except for a manually wound split-second chronograph.
Yeah. And no one, honestly, there are obviously different brands do split-second chronographs in different ways. The actuation, nobody beats Patek with the integrated split in the crown. It's so cool. It's so perfect.
And I love the button in the crown. I know Journe, when they did theirs, they did it with where it's a mono pusher and then the button on the side because he wanted to be somewhat low profile with it. This button in the crown, that's the only reason you buy like a 5004.
That's what I'm saying. It's so incredible.
5370. Like, come on. That is it. And then the whole time we've been doing this show, I've been just looking down at this watch because as the dial, like there, you can kind of see it. The enamel is so interesting.
Well, you get so much texture, which is, I'm actually very excited that it's this visible on the cameras tonight because in photos, you don't get, because you can't play with the light. It's got like little ridges and little ripples and, it's perfect. It's really,
well, it's not
really
perfect.
Incredible. Well,
that's the thing. It's not perfect.
Very wabi-sabi.
It's big, right? It is big, especially for a Patek, but I don't care. It's not too big. And I would, whoa, go back up. Sorry, go back up. Lugs look weak on this Patek.
So show it off with the screwed lugs. Like I think these are some of the best looking lugs on a Patek. The way it's perfectly sculpted and integrated into the flow of the case, and then they're essentially screwed straight through. Like it's got a really kind of vintagey throwback look to it.
This watch is not a perpetual calendar split second. It's not a perpetual counter chronograph. This on the surface looks like a very standard Patek chronograph.
Totally.
And I think the fact that they made this elaborate, beautiful case, that's everything. That is absolutely everything. I think that is half of what I absolutely love about this watch. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It's killer.
Unbelievable.
It is absolutely killer.
I will say that if I'm going to be picky, I do prefer just the standard classic black dial, and that's crazy for me saying because like almost everything I have is blue and I love blue dials, but they're really special.
If I had $200K and I was going to spend it on a watch, that is absolutely how I would.
You've said that for years. And best part, boink,
diamond at 6 o'clock.
Like you can't beat that.
Yep.
Next,
So killer audiophile, this is better than a triple split.
Agreed.
Hot take, but
Yep.
that's
No,
that's my story.
That's
and
not
I'm
even a hot
sticking
take.
to it.
That's not even a hot take. Rob, go ahead and show that off.
Let me make the hands pretty.
I think I did, but it's probably running, so it's a little bit
Yeah, they were.
beyond.
There we are.
So this, get it on the old wrist cam. So AP Royal Oak Openworked skeleton perpetual calendar, reference 25829ST, so stainless steel.
Yes.
This,
Steel.
we've seen a number of these over the years. We had a really incredible yellow gold one, probably, what, 4 or 5 years ago, that was bonkers.
The patina.
The patina was
Oh, nice.
insane on it. But when it comes to Royal Oaks, there's something about stainless. And I love the mix of the incredibly complex, skeletonized perpetual calendar dial in a stainless steel case. I mean, I could get lost in this dial, lack of dial, whatever you want to say. I could just stare at this for forever. Like, this is unbelievable.
And
It's
you know what?
impossible to tell
There
what
we go.
any of the subdials
No,
say.
I was going to say, I think this is super legible.
Really?
This is super duper legible. Come on, even I can read that, and
Okay.
I'm blind as like a 90-year-old grandpa.
I was gonna say you are old and crippled, but that's okay.
I can't see. But this to me this is stellar.
It is.
And actually, you know, I've said many times on the show that I prefer precious metal over steel, but because of the Royal Oak and its history and its lineage, it's always hard to get these. There we go. Look at that case back.
Well, look at
Wow, wow.
look at how decorated the rotor is.
Decorated and
Skeletonized,
skeletonized.
fully decorated. Like
Yeah.
every single piece of this movement is like so
Thin.
intricately decorated, highly considered. It's like I have no words honestly to describe it.
Yeah.
It's incredible, incredible.
Because of what this watch is, I think this should be in steel.
That's what I said. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And I go back with on my thing of like I prefer precious metals because of Royal Oak and Royal Oak being a steel watch.
Yeah.
Like, this is the way it should be. And this is 39.
Yep.
Right? So
Yep.
like if you put this on your wrist,
Let me take off my tiny one and put that one on. Like it works for me.
don't sell yourself short. Literally.
My wrist is not short, Rob. It's just on the diminutive side. Like, cut me some slack here. But no, really. Like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can see on the camera, but like this is totally normal, reasonable. Like it
Yes.
fits beautifully.
Yeah, it
Sized
doesn't
it up.
overhang,
If I
it's
took
thin.
all the links out of the bracelet and fit it to my tiny little wrist, like, but no, really. This is, and we've said it a million times, this is the era of watches that you and I gravitate towards.
Yep.
80s, late 80s, early 90s, creeping into the late 90s. These kind of things are just like, they're so perfect. There's just something vintagey and incredible about them. Like, I love it. This is an amazing, amazing piece. Mark S. looking for wrist shots for what we are wearing tonight. Unfortunately, not super exciting.
No, we're kind of boring. I've been really enjoying this strap though. I have
that
to
looks
admit,
great.
I found this like used, I guess it's a new buck
Nubuck.
as compared to old buck. That was a bad
That was
joke.
terrible,
I'll go
dude.
home now.
My God.
But I found this like kind of tan strap and I put it on here and I've been really enjoying this. It's like having a brand new watch. So this is my Patek 3940 Perpetual calendar. I believe it is a day off. Don't judge me for that, please. I wasn't at work on Tuesday and
No excuses,
it
Rob.
stopped and
No
then I set the
excuses.
time and it was a day behind. But yeah, that's my baby.
I'm wearing, go to the overhead. You want to go to the overhead, Adam? See if I can get it in there. I'm wearing my 4100 ST, so smaller, little Royal Oak that fits my tiny little wrist. So this gets a ton of wrist time for me.
I'd wear that size, man.
It gets so
That's
much wrist
36,
time. I love
right?
it.
It's
Yeah,
not little.
yeah. No, it's perfect.
I'd wear that.
Perfect. All right, next, Rob. We have so many watches that we're not going to get to, but what do you want
No,
to talk?
your turn.
Is it my
Because
turn?
I just did the split.
No, I did the AP. Come on.
Oh, you did the AP?
Come on.
Wow.
Jeez.
Wow. Sorry, I don't know. I disappeared. Okay, let's talk
That was my next pick.
about interesting watches.
Yep.
Right? This is Roger Dubuis. And this is old school Dubuis.
Yep.
If you see this watch and you're like, whoa, that's super cool, I'm gonna go check out Roger Dubuis. And you go on their website currently, you will not find anything that even closely resembles this. This is Dubuis from like early 2000s, when he was still one in, upon this mortal coil.
I would say when he was alive.
And two, involved with the company at this point. And he was making very small runs of pieces. Generally, things were numbered out of 28, but word on the street is that sometimes he didn't even make all 28
I was going to
pieces.
say, I think that's a pretty well-established fact that most of the time, and especially for the more complicated models like this, all 28 pieces were not produced, even though they were numbered out of 28.
So this is from the Sympathie collection. And the Sympathie collection is defined by this extremely cool shape of the case. I have never seen anything like this before these watches. I have never seen anything like it since. To me, it is unparalleled in its coolness.
Mark's got a good point there. That
he is correct. I was going to say the same
even
thing.
during this era of Dubuis, this is actually the later portion of this era of Dubuis when Roger Dubuis was still part of the brand. The earlier models, the earlier pieces from the Sympathie collection actually have a shaped crystal that is not round. It fits the shape of the case, which is even better.
But I have to admit, there are some where I look at the round crystal and I'm like, no, it doesn't work. But this one, with this double retrograde like this, it frames it so well that I think this is really killer.
It's actually really funny. Somebody just said that the watch looks like, Mark did. The watch looks like a baseball, and I never saw that. It looks like the stitching of a baseball, those two retrogrades. But it's one of those watches that you look at first and you're like, what the hell is that? And then you spend a little time with it, you look a little closer, and there are just so many little details and little things that pop out at you that you don't, you're rewarded by spending time with this watch. And Rob, show the movement.
So I just want to say, Chris, this is not a perpetual. This is actually a day, date, moon phase with a chronograph. So it's
he did make a perpetual, but
he does make this in a perpetual.
Yeah.
They do exist. But this one is kind of cool because this isn't as expensive as the perpetual.
No, not even close.
So this is just a simple day date. It's,
well,
I say simple, but you look at this layout, it's anything but. With a chrono, and we do get an absolutely glorious, I believe this is the Lamania base.
Is it? Look at that, man.
Yeah.
Like we said.
Is there anything better?
Manual line chrono, and a complicated manual line chrono, damn. So good.
Yeah. And the dial has this lovely, it must be lacquered.
Yep,
it has that depth of enamel, but it's not priced like an enamel watch.
The other thing is that those blued hands and then the blue of the moon disc, it really pops. Yeah, it's like an electric blue, really sharp.
You have correctors on the side, so it's nice and easy to reset it if you're like me and you let your watch sit for a while and then you put it on and you're like, oh, it's not right. You can set it really quickly, which is cool. I love that there's a little bit of red in that minute track that pops out. I love that it's on a tang buckle because I would take that over a deploy any day. I adore this watch.
The thing too about these watches is that as incredible as they are, as all those features, all those little details that you just described, Rob, looking at that movement. So this is priced at $49.9 on our website right now, which, again, not an insignificant amount of money, but you're getting a very interesting complication, unusual, an interesting combination of complications, beautiful manual wind movement, super unique design, really, really special piece for, not an insane amount of money. So these are underrated.
A level of exclusivity that I think people don't always fully recognize because it's why do we pay so much for a Patek with a Tiffany stamp on it? Because there's a level of exclusivity.
Right.
Why did 20 people probably fall all over themselves to buy that Daniel Roth? For a level of exclusivity. Exclusive.
So
Mark, look at this.
So Mark asked, why do you guys like tang buckles so much? Deploys feel more deluxe and is safer from drops. You're right that deploys are, of course, going to be safer from drops because you can put on and remove the watch without totally disconnecting, the two sides of the strap. That being said, unless your wrist is like the perfect, it's like being, what do they call it when you have like model size, like if you order, a piece of clothing and you are the perfect size, like, yeah, it fits beautifully. And of course it's gonna look amazing. But if your wrist is not the perfect size and geometry for that buckle, it's gonna be uncomfortable.
Well, it's also the strap. Like if you know exactly what your strap size is and you can custom order things so that the deploy hits you perfectly on the wrist, then I am all for it. But I have never done that.
No.
And I don't have any straps where my Patek deploy fits me perfectly.
Some brands do it better than others.
Yes.
Patek's deploys, I will say, are on the better side. I believe, Longas drive me crazy. They're way too bulky and they feel uncomfortable. Cartier, unfortunately, has never made a good deploy. I love
that foldy business.
Well, it's super elegant and it looks beautiful, but like both of my Cartiers, immediately, when I bought them, they were on deploys. I immediately put them on tangs.
Let's quickly show the greatest deploy that is sitting on this table right now. Hold on.
So 5271P.
Oh, you gave it away.
Oh, well.
You gave it away.
You didn't tell me that you were going to try and...
I was just going to show the buckle and be like, how's this for a deploy? This deploy I'll get behind.
Hell yeah.
We got a deploy with baguettes, people.
Anytime you put diamonds on my diamonds on my deploy is like a great band name. We might have to do that, Rob.
Oh my God, Watch Rock.
Diamonds on my deploy.
Is that like Yacht Rock?
Exactly.
But I mean, it's kind of the same thing, right?
So, anyways, another Patek on our new arrivals this week. So 5271P. So you get a classic 5270 Perpetual calendar chrono, platinum case. But in this case, obviously you get the addition of diamonds on the bezel, on the lugs, and then on the deploy. It's whatever. If a platinum Patek Perpetual calendar chrono is not enough for you, here you go. Like, these are so great.
Don't forget, there are 2 bags on the dial.
Oh, true. That's right. I actually forgot about those.
Oops, didn't give it enough juice. I need to get it so that the chrono will run. There we go. There you go. 2 more baguettes in case you, or no, just 1.
At 12, yeah. Well, you get the 6 o'clock, and then you get not 6 o'clock on the case, and then and then you get the bag up at 12.
And then the bag. I thought it was the double bags at 12, like on the 52.
No.
One. But that's okay. 1 more.
Man.
For the road.
But really, this one is, for me, it's all about the deploy. It's so dumb. It's so over the top, but like, I absolutely love it.
You know what, though? The other thing that really is striking about this is that Patek doesn't make a lot of black dials.
No.
Right? Like, a black dial
They're usually limited editions, honestly.
Is still very much in the minority. And so this combo, I know everybody is all like, ooh, white metal salmon. White metal black? Like this? Oh, man alive. This looks so
screams
good.
black tie function to me. Like,
yeah,
you wear that with a tux, and like only with a tux.
And I love the fact that the dial, the scales aren't the same as like the 5970. Like the dial feels a little bit more open and expansive. Maybe it's also the fact that like the leap year and the day-night indicator get pulled out. So like the sub-dials at 3 and 9 o'clock are nice and open. But it just has a totally different feel. This thing is stellar.
Yeah, they're killer.
This is, yeah.
We still haven't seen the sapphire version or the ruby version,
or the emeralds.
I was trying to buy that emerald version for a while and it didn't happen. But I really want to see those as well. But these are just monster pieces. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't think we even try to top that at this point. Like it's 5:59
I was
p.m.
gonna say, I think for half or like what was it, 25 minutes of showing watches, I think we got through a good number of watches because you guys love to comment on the fact that we don't. We stall out sometimes, but I think we did
pretty good.
Well.
I think we did pretty good.
If I did say so myself.
Well, anyways, already an hour has gone by. Thank you guys, as always, for joining us. This is always the highlight of our week. We love seeing people coming back. We love seeing you guys, giving us crap every single week. It's fun in the comments.
This was good.
Yeah.
LVMH Watch Week, a good show.
Yeah, unbelievable show.
A good show. Gotta give
impressed.
them credit.
Highly impressed.
European Watch Company new arrivals.
Pretty impressive.
Good show.
Pretty impressive.
A good showing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. Please do like and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you all next week.
Have a great week.